Hey Minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and on this episode of Action Awareness, I want to talk about Discards Are Forever of the Super Spies. Unless it is a thematic month, I do not like to revisit the same faction twice in 1 week, but I have reasons for wanting to visit the spies again after the Secret Agent. Discards Are Forever is a very interesting card because it does not do what you think when you first read it. It states, all players reveal cards from their deck until they reveal a minion. Discard all revealed cards. There are two common mistakes. The first is that the spy player fails to realize they too participate in the discarding. This is one of the rare actions that actually hurts all players. The second misconception is that the minion revealed is not discarded. In fact, it is. You discard all revealed cards, including the minion, which stops the reveal. This is important to note because the spies want to discard minions, not actions. They have 3 cards that discard minions, 2 copies of the Spy Who Ditched Me, and Permit to Kill. By bleeding players of minions, they are forced to rely on actions, which the Secret Agent targets for further discards. So Discards Are Forever almost guarantees the loss of a minion, while possibly taking out several powerful actions as well. The spies are the type of faction that bring up yet again a very interesting question. What does it mean to have a bad card? There aren't really that many bad cards in Smash Up, just weaker ones. So when you play a card like Operative, when you put something on the bottom of a deck, unless it is one of the strongest cards, you might be advancing a stronger card to the top. In general, the Operative is designed to see if there is one of the weaker cards on top and hopefully keep it there. But Discards Are Forever changes that paradigm significantly. Let's talk about the spy player perspective first. I believe that this is one of the most misplayed cards because many players violate a simple rule. Do not play this card unless you know exactly what is on top of your deck and are willing to sacrifice it. You are going to lose a minion, and possibly more, so make sure you prioritize yourself over anyone else. If done properly, this could be advantageous to you. The weakest spy minion is, not surprisingly, the spy. There are some factions where I prefer the 2-powered minion to the 3, but this is not the case for most factions, and definitely not for the spies. Ironically, the best minion for knowing what is on your deck is the spy itself. It gives you advanced knowledge of what is coming, and you can put the next spy as the first or third card in your deck. If you intend to play Discards Are Forever this turn, make it the first, otherwise prep for the next turn. However, each time you use a spy, you reduce the chance of having a spy as cannon fodder. Hopefully your partner too is also a worthy casualty, as you'll have 4 copies of them. If your partner has too many candidates, then maybe you should revisit your pairing. I don't think using Moon03 to inspect yourself is worth it as a precursor, because I much prefer the chance to do significant damage to another player. It's easier for the spy to use other cards to know what they are doing to themselves than to fully assess the impact to another player. When you play Discards Are Forever, you run the risk of losing your 4 or 5. In Monday's video, I showed how crucial the Secret Agent is to the spy strategy. Unknowingly discarding it would be crippling. The spies 2 and 3s do not directly help you win a base, so losing a powerful minion is devastating. Additionally, if you force someone to only discard a weak minion, you are trading your precious action play just so that you both discard your weakest minions, and that's not worth the cost. Discards Are Forever also asks a second interesting question. Is a powerful card better off discarded or placed on the bottom? The answer depends on the faction, and you need to know the answer as a spy player. At a fundamental level, some factions work well with the discard pile, retrieving cards to hand or putting them in play, so discarding the card would still give them timely access. other factions have lots of searching or reshuffling, which would undo the placement, making discarding the better option. But at a more introspective level, there's the question of whether or not you want a player to know they've lost access to a particular card. The spies are all about information after all. Moon 03 has the potential to keep a player guessing as to what card they lost, but Discards Are Forever removes that insider knowledge. Because of the damage it can do, Discards Are Forever needs to be timed appropriately. I already mentioned that you should know what is on your deck, but it also helps to know what is on theirs. In a 35 card deck, because of your initial hand, I like the odds that when I play a For My Eyes Only, there will be a minion worthy of sacrifice that I can position accordingly. This lets me know exactly when I should be using my action to play Discards Are Forever, while freeing up my minion play to use Operative to position my opponents for maximum damage. If they have a minion on top, I'm likely to place it on the bottom so that I could hopefully take out some actions before they lose a different minion. By preparing accordingly, I can minimize my own impact while maximizing that of others. Since the spies have no extra plays, power boosts, or minion reduction, this is exactly the type of play that they should be working towards. By using this approach, you can use the Operative to decide whether or not that action should be discarded or banished, with Moon 03 serving as a sanity check as a follow-up. The spies manipulate decks, which is why it is nonsensical to just play this card and see what happens. In my experience, the spies gain critical advantage from being able to control what happens. Now that the game plan is solidified, we can circle back to the original question, which is what minion should be the opponent's kill switch. If a king minion were on top, would you leave it and let it be discarded? Or would you be greedy and place it on the bottom, hoping to knock out a powerful minion? It's an interesting dilemma because it all circles back to good versus bad cards. You're removing a good card either way, but you also might be removing a bad card afterward. Minion Starvation is a real phenomenon, but so is never reaching your good cards. By taking away a 2, you did make them discard a minion, but it wasn't from hand. And most players do not use their entire deck anyway. What you might have done is accelerate them drawing their better minions, which, at certain deck sizes, would also reach the bottom of the deck eventually. If you bleed a player too quickly, then their discard pile resets and they get their best cards again. So what do? I don't think that there is a general purpose answer because it depends on what cards have been seen so far and where the opposing factions can manipulate their cards. My general advice is to follow the laws of probability and to read the situation carefully. Remember, all discard piles are public knowledge at all times. If the top card of the deck is a good card, you may not want to be greedy, especially if they have used many of their good cards already. It means that the next card is likely not as good. If the player has used predominantly weaker cards, then the probability is that the next minion would be good, so maybe you can be greedy, as long as the deck is sufficiently large enough to make placing on the bottom a worthwhile attack. Don't just use the information that the spies give you directly, because information is everywhere, and this concept adds a lot of intrigue to Discards Are Forever, which is so much more than a deck kamikaze card. Discards Are Forever is a card that requires long-term planning to be successful. It can easily backfire, so be disciplined. At the very least, always know what card you are losing. The spies trend weak because their cards are widely disparate in value. Don't run the risk of being on the wrong side of the spectrum. What do you think of Discards Are Forever? Have you ever adopted this approach? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.